Have you ever thought about where some of our favorite holiday traditions come from? Their charm may delight us today, but their history tells a very different story. What you learn today might just change the way you see these holiday staples forever. As Christians, we need to think carefully about how we celebrate and what we choose to embrace. If you find this content valuable, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Now let's begin. Number 1. Mistletoe. Mistletoe, with its bright green leaves and white berries, is often hung in doorways as part of Christmas traditions, associated with romantic kisses and goodwill. But this seemingly harmless tradition has surprisingly dark pagan roots. In ancient Druidic traditions, mistletoe was considered sacred. Druids believed it possessed magical properties for healing, protection against evil, and ensuring fertility. Its placement in doorways was meant to welcome peace and ward off malevolent spirits. They also held elaborate rituals to harvest mistletoe using golden sickles, emphasizing its spiritual significance as a bridge between earth and heaven. In Norse mythology, mistletoe played a pivotal role in the story of Baldur, the god of light, who was killed by a mistletoe weapon crafted by Loki. After his death, mistletoe became a symbol of peace and reconciliation, and it is said that Frigg, Baldur's mother, decreed that those who passed beneath it should embrace to honor unity. This symbolic gesture has since transformed into the modern-day tradition of kissing under the mistletoe. Mistletoe's pagan significance has been adapted into the holiday season, though its original meanings were never fully erased. For Christians, understanding mistletoe's origins can be a call to focus on Christ's role as the ultimate bringer of peace and reconciliation, rather than embracing traditions rooted in pagan mythology. Number 2. Yule logs. The tradition of the Yule log has an ancient and deeply pagan history tied to winter solstice celebrations. It was more than just a festive fire. It represented survival, hope, and spiritual connection during the darkest days of the year. The word Yule itself comes from the Old Norse word Jul, referring to a midwinter festival dedicated to the Norse god Odin. During these festivals, the burning of the Yule log was a communal act, uniting families and neighbors as they gathered around the hearth. The log's size and duration of its burn were thought to determine the blessings and protection for the household in the coming year. The burning of the Yule log was more than just a practical way to keep warm during the winter. Pagans believed that the fire and smoke had purifying and protective powers, driving away darkness and malevolent spirits. The ash from the burnt log was considered a sacred relic, scattered across fields to ensure a bountiful harvest, or kept as a charm to protect the home from harm. In Norse mythology, the Yule log symbolized the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth, aligning with the return of the sun after the winter solstice, the year's longest night. The log's burning flames were seen as a tribute to the gods, expressing gratitude for their role in sustaining life through winter's harshness and welcoming the renewal of light and warmth. Over time, the Yule log evolved into modern holiday customs like decorative cakes or festive centerpieces. However, its pagan origins as a tool for invoking protection and appeasing deities remain. For Christians, the history of the Yule log serves as a cautionary reminder of how deeply pagan practices have influenced modern traditions, prompting reflection on whether such symbols align with biblical faith. Number 3. The Christmas tree. The Christmas tree is arguably the most recognizable symbol of the holiday season, but its origins have little to do with Christianity and everything to do with ancient pagan rituals. Long before Christmas, ancient civilizations revered evergreen trees for their ability to remain green throughout the harsh winters. These trees were often seen as a connection between the earthly and the divine, representing eternal life. Some cultures even believed that evergreens had protective powers, capable of guarding against not only physical illness, but also spiritual attacks. During the winter solstice, people in places like Scandinavia, Germany, and even ancient Rome would bring evergreen boughs into their homes to symbolize life and renewal during the darkest days of the year. These trees were adorned with small ornaments made from natural materials such as fruits, nuts, and candles to enhance their supposed protective and life-giving powers. The belief was that these decorations amplified the tree's ability to drive away evil spirits, witches, and illnesses. The Germans are credited with introducing the concept of decorating the entire tree. This practice stemmed from their pagan celebration of the god Odin, who was honored during Yule with greenery and offerings. The tree was a symbol of divine life and fertility, meant to appease the gods and ensure a fruitful harvest in the coming year. When Christianity spread through Europe, church leaders adopted the use of evergreen trees, integrating them into Christmas celebrations to make the transition to Christianity easier for converts. By the 16th century, German Christians began decorating their trees with apples, representing the fruit from the Garden of Eden, and later added candles to symbolize Christ as the light of the world. While many now associate the Christmas tree with the birth of Christ, its pagan roots are undeniable. Number 4. Easter eggs. Easter eggs are a beloved symbol of spring and renewal, often associated with Easter celebrations. However, their origins predate Christianity and are deeply rooted in pagan fertility rituals. In many ancient cultures, eggs were seen as cosmic symbols, representing not just fertility but also the origin of life itself. The egg's shape and symbolism were deeply tied to the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, which were central to pagan beliefs about the changing seasons. Eggs have long been symbols of life and fertility in many cultures. Ancient pagans celebrated the coming of spring with festivals honoring fertility goddesses like Ishtar. These festivals often included elaborate rituals, such as processions and ceremonies where eggs were held as sacred items believed to connect humanity to the divine. The egg was often buried in fields as an offering to encourage fertility in crops or livestock, reflecting its sacred role in these traditions. The association with rabbits, another fertility symbol, further emphasized the abundance and new life that these celebrations sought to invoke. Eggs were also painted with bright colors to symbolize sunlight and the renewal of life. During these festivals, eggs were dyed and exchanged as gifts to celebrate the renewal of life after the harsh winter months. Some traditions even included egg hunts, where eggs were hidden as offerings to the gods. Many Christians say that the egg is symbolic of the empty tomb and the promise of eternal life. Despite this, the act of decorating and hiding eggs still reflects many of the earlier pagan customs. For Christians, this raises questions about the appropriateness of blending these practices with a holiday meant to honor the victory of Christ over death. And last but not least, number 5. Santa Claus. The jolly figure of Santa Claus with his red suit and bag of gifts is a central character in Christmas celebrations. His modern image is the result of centuries of folklore, mythology, and evolving cultural practices that have left a complex legacy. One of Santa's primary inspirations is Saint Nicholas, a 4th-century bishop known for his generosity and love for children. Another major influence mentioned earlier in the video is the Norse god Odin. He was often portrayed as an old man with a long beard who rode through the skies on his 8-legged horse, Sleipnir. Odin's habit of delivering blessings or punishments during Yule season closely resembles Santa's sleigh and reindeer. This parallel highlights how myths and regional traditions merged over time to shape the figure we recognize today. In Dutch folklore, Sinterklaas, a version of Saint Nicholas, traveled on horseback, accompanied by helpers delivering gifts to well-behaved children. Over time, British and American adaptations transformed this figure into the modern Santa Claus, incorporating elements like chimney entry and stockings to create the familiar character we know today. The tradition of leaving out cookies and milk for Santa has roots in ancient practices of offering food to appease spirits or honor deities. Norse children left food for Odin and his horse Sleipnir, hoping to receive blessings. Similarly, during Saturnalia in ancient Rome, feasting and gift-giving honored Saturn, the god of time and abundance. Over centuries, these customs evolved, transforming into the modern practice of leaving treats for Santa during the holiday season. Santa Claus, while cherished as a symbol of generosity and joy, represents a figure deeply influenced by mythology and folklore. For Christians, his story serves as a reminder to carefully evaluate which traditions truly honor the message of Christ's birth. As Colossians 2:8 reminds us, "See to it that no one takes you captive by philosophy and empty deceit, according to human tradition, according to the elemental spirits of the world, and not according to Christ." In this video, we have seen that many of the holiday traditions we hold dear have deep roots in pagan practices that are steeped in nature worship, mythology, and superstition. It's important for Christians to approach them with discernment. By understanding their origins, we can refocus our celebrations on Christ and ensure that our practices honor Him above all else. If you found this video enlightening, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more content to help you be more discerning in your faith. Let us know in the comments which of these traditions surprised you the most. Thanks for watching, and may your holidays be filled with the joy and peace of Christ.